affirm. Two types of reasons exist, desire-based and value-based. Desire-based theories claim that moral rules from an agent desires, whereas value-based theories claim that the action is right or wrong because the fact that state of affairs that give rise to the reason independently of the particular person. Only a value-based theory of reason can truly give reason to act. Perfect. If desire gives reason, our desires can cause us to be in agony for its own sake, to waste our lives and try to achieve worthless aims. None of these desires give us reason to act. Reasons are provided by the features of what we want that make these desires good or worth achieving. Also, desire-based theories of reason make a mistake by confusing meta-hedonic desires with hedonic likings and dislikings. Something isn't good merely because we want it. Perfect 2. Most want to avoid future pain, but we cannot now dislike future pain. Hedonic dislike cannot be into the future. These make no difference between our states and our meta-hedonic desires, cause many people to falsely believe that their own desires can confer value when we are in great pain. What makes our conscious state bad is our dislike, not our present desire not to be having this sensation that the sensation that we dislike. Desires do not make their opposite good or bad. Nothing is good merely because we want it. Finally, a value-based theory of reason justifies a rule consequentialist perspective. 1. No one will be able to present a value-based reason to reject an optimistic rule. Ross. Principles of universal acceptance, everyone will be precisely those whose universal acceptance will have the best consequence from an impartial point of view. That is, these will be the rule consequential principles. The principles will not make this go with what would be someone who has a decisive reason not to choose their universal acceptance. The principles that everyone has sufficient reason to choose are rule consequential principles. One acts for just when they came out, one acts for rule consequential principles. Thus, the standard is rule consequentialism, defined as the principles of universal acceptance will have the best consequences from an impartial point of view, which implies agent neutrality. Even if I don't want the framework debates, and negating to deny the truth of the affirmative, so proving the avant under one framework doesn't prove under my framework, so if the rule is good, you affirm. And prefer this framework 1. Only a rule consequential perspective reconciles the need to both weigh between states of affairs and recognize certain things as intrinsically good or bad. Any other framework either A, ignores oppression, or B, leads to irresolvability. It allows us to form strategies to stop oppression, which is what makes ethical categories meaningful. Magill. The rightness of an action is determined by whether or not respect the rules of conduct to general observance is productive. A compromise between the consequences that claim and claim that some actions are prohibited. Although the assassination of a brutal police officer might have good consequences, a rule consequentialist would argue that abiding by laws prohibiting murder has better consequences. Plan text. Resolved, the Missouri General Assembly will pass legislation banning the private ownership of handguns. Normal means require confiscation, so the plan solves loopholes in the quo. And put away your solvency advocate theory. The plan is an extension of Democratic Senator Stacey Newman's proposed legislation to reduce gun violence in Missouri. Told her. Creating gun violence restraining order would allow an individual or a law enforcement agency to ask the court to confiscate guns modeled after a new law in California. St. Louis can't just sit back and wait. Restraining orders for weapons will work just like domestic violence restraining orders because the way the laws are currently written in Missouri, right to own a gun so often supersedes the right to safety. Also, action must be taken now. Missouri has recently filed for legislation to nullify all federal gun control measures. State measures are necessary to counteract this ban. Bolden. January 13, 2016, a bill filed in the Missouri House will declare all federal gun control measures invalid and nullify their enforcement in the state. Most enforcement actions rely on help, support, and leadership in the states. Next, framing for the offense. As a rule, when communities face overwhelming violence, we must ban the causes of that violence to promote the best consequences. This is what justifies all the advantages in the act. Advantage 1 is race. Violence in St. Louis is mainly black and is concentrated in the poor districts of the city due to a long-standing racial divide between the north side and the south side. Phillips. 80% of homicides occur in North St. Louis. 90% of murder victims were black and 85% were male. Of the homicide defendants, 95% were black and 91% were male. And this violence is due to a cultural violence existing in the black community of St. Louis and trapping black youth into a society where a life of violent crime is nearly inescapable. Phillips 2. The mayor said, I'm out there, I'm talking to single mothers on front porches, I'm standing in the living room, I've seen a mentality I've never seen before. A pervasive anger, a quick temper, and a propensity towards violence, even among young boys. It used to be that bad boys kill people, Clark says. Now the boys who triggers are on the finger, they are just as much a victim as the people they shoot because they were born into an environment where that behavior was accepted, expected, taught, and reinforced. In St. Louis, a no-snitching ethos causes reluctance of witnesses to testify. Further, St. Louis demands a unique approach to race relationship. We cannot focus on breaking down white privilege, and instead we have to bring attention to the typically glossed over black-on-black violence in this area, resulting from a historically constructed culture of violence that has led to widespread segregation. SBPDL. The overwhelming majority of both victims of perpetrators homicide in Missouri and in Missouri are black men. A rally the media choose to ignore was held against black violence. It has taken too long to begin to deal with the issue at the root of our problem, which is in our families and our neighborhood. Let's put down our guns, St. Louis. Let's just stop it because no one deserved this. Reducing black and black violence via gun control is crucial to rejoining the segmented neighborhoods of the city and breaking down the criminal atmosphere. Also, arguments that we should always focus on white privilege first miss the point is black lives matter, they should always matter, not just when they are killed by a white police officer. When we situationally use black deaths to promote a cause, they ignore the thousands of other nameless victims of black on black death, we devalue black life. Also, the 51 ratio of black on black murders versus police on black murders in St. Louis means that my office always outweighs a magnitude. Finally, handguns are the most common weapon used in violent crimes against the blacks in St. Louis, in Missouri. Violent Policy Center. The homicide rate among black victims in Missouri was 39.9 per 100,000, making first in the United States for homicides, and which the weapon could be identified. 87% of victims were shot and killed with the guns. Of these, 50% were killed with handguns. Thus, a ban on handguns is key to breaking down the culture of violence in Missouri, removing the most used and most damaging weapon available means that people have less access to such weapons, meaning we no longer glorify violence with ideas like shooters that were common in Missouri in past centuries. Advantage 2 is IPV. In the status quo, Missouri does nothing to address its widespread intimate partner abuse epidemic. Law centers to prevent gun violence. Missouri has no laws restricting access to firearms by domestic abuse. There were 366 domestic violence homicides in Missouri from 2003 to 2012. 7,635 people were killed with guns. Missouri does not require the surrender of a firearm by a person prohibited from possessing a firearm. And the primary reason such crime to Missouri is a handgun. Violence Policy Center 2. The homicide rate among females murdered by males in Missouri was 1.73 per 100,000 in 2012, where homicides with the weapon could be identified. 50% were killed with handguns. Among the female estimates, 50% were shot and killed with handguns. Finally, empirical evidence shows that state government laws that banning guns and force domestic abuse to surrender their weapons are largely effective in reducing domestic murder rates. Cauterucci. Guns are the preferred weapon of domestic abuse who kill their partners. Even the simple parents of a gun in the home makes domestic violence 5 times more likely to lead to murder. Some local and state governments have passed laws that force the convicted domestic abuse to turn their guns. These have been largely effective. 2009 study credits these days with domestic gun murder rates 25% lower. Underview 1. Policy making is the best frame to cultivate the most important skills in debate. Hingsman. The true skills of argumentation are those of reason to develop the means of changing beliefs arising from the easy for democratic society that faces the challenge to pose policy questions not yet resolved. The necessity for action within the policy making model makes arguments a means of directing inevitable action on social problems. This clarifies the function of the debate so the net was engaged with the policy comparison. 2. Local policy making is key to reaching effective solutions. Big picture analysis has too many confounding variables that results in inefficient resource allocation. This means that an argument aimed at addressing material harms must start from a regional approach, the MRSC. Local government structures build trust and confidence, limited resources go further where there's alignment, important community values shape vision. Those without vision spend considerable energy on wrong or irrelevant issues, bouncing reactively from one topic to another. The alienation, the allocation of resources to competing needs is an important exercise of policy making. I'm skipping the definition in the Zen card. Evaluate C through reasonability, the bright line for a reasonable linguistic affirmation of the resolution of phrase with a self advocate. In other words, the plan for the topic. And Merriam-Webster defines and is used to indicate that something is included as a part of something, which is a reason why the linguistically topical. 1. Competing interpretation thus based on a minuscule risk of often sit there are infinite possible definition with no such thing as a perfectly 50-50 one to incentivize the negative one as much as possible. And only the FP by this is accurate on the fact that T is always game over. You said T can drop the argument out. T destroys the advocacy. Also, don't treat reasonability any different on the argument. Give me the argument independently on the reasonability. If I'm being reasonable, it makes the same kind of thing with 1 hour, 5 hours time correct the NC being less time to generate unique offensive theory. So you can cut the Zen card out.
Can you just like delete stuff?
Yeah, no problem. Yep, that's it.
Okay. So, everyone ready? You good? Let's talk about the advocacy.
Sure.
So you say the Missouri General Assembly would pass it. So it's just one assembly within Missouri? It's not like the entire government?
The state government.
Okay, let's talk about the T preempts then. So you say in means a single part of it. Let's say the advocacy was, I don't know, just one single city, one single town inside one single city. Obviously there'd be limits problems there. Would that still be fine under your definition?
If they have a solvency advocate, I would say that's still a reasonable half.
Wait, what if I generate like huge limits offense? Like, what if I have huge pragmatic offense, right, that's really bad for debate? Would that still...
That's your... you have the ability to weigh that in your next speech. I'm not going to give you like limit standards.
But if there's linguistic affirmation, but it's still a really unfair act, that still wouldn't negate under your reasonability bright line?
I would say a reasonable act is one that linguistically affirms the topic and has a solvency advocate. If there's a solvency advocate in the list that says that city specifically should go say, I would say there's a reasonable
Let's talk about your solvency advocate. Sure. Where does it mention handguns anywhere? It just says gun violence bad.
The toller card?
Yeah, point to me a single line that says handguns. Sure. I don't think it does.
Cool. So the toller card doesn't say handguns, but the evidence in the contention specifies why handguns are the most important problem in the
plan text is how you assess what the advocacy is.
Cool.
That's why I say that say handguns.
Yes, my plan text is an extension of Senator Newman's proposal. It is not exactly her proposal.
Then you don't have a solvency advocate if it's not
I do have a solvency advocate because of the fact that Senator Newman is saying that the gun issue in Missouri is a problem, specifically in areas like St. Louis where the urban gun rates are very high, which is why we have to address
the plan text says confiscate guns from people who have shown signs of committing violence. So is it a gun control argument or a full-out ban?
No. Okay. If you want me to clarify it in the simplest way possible, Senator Stacey Newman clarified the motivation for the advocacy. There's no author that says we should ban handguns specifically in the city of St. Louis and other regions of Missouri where gun rates are extremely high.
Yeah, which shows it's untopical.
I would not say that's still topical. I would say that
are you going to defend the plan text as from guns from people who show signs of violence?
I will defend the plan text as the plan text that is right above the total evidence.
Okay, so you're not gonna say only criminals lose guns.
I would not say that. No.
Cool. Let's talk about your framework. The trick you have under the standard says that rules apply to any framework. So does that mean if you win the case offense that auto turns every NC?
I would say that. Wait, what do you mean auto turns?
You say negate means deny the truth of. Proving the app under one framework doesn't deny the truth. So if you win the app offense, that like auto turn every NC?
If you turn the AC offense under my framework, I say you win. Also, this might just be from when Paul had the framework. So like if you really are bothered by the index skills argument, we can take it.
Yeah, let's take it out. I don't
really care.
Let's talk about the spikes at the bottom. Local policy making, key to reaching effective solutions. What does that preempt?
Well, it's gonna be something I leverage against your T interrupt that says I have to defend a federal ban.
Why isn't there a TVA, like, I don't know, an app that advocates for coordination? Why couldn't there be like an app that local and federal solutions together would be fine? Why wouldn't that solve for this argument?
I would say that there are arguments in the AC that preempt the effectiveness of federal solutions, but specifically the
why does
argument that
efficacy...
justify why we have to take a localized approach would be reasons why a local policymaking scheme is better.
Let's talk about your solvency. You just say that your Katrusky evidence says that when they ban guns and force domestic abusers to surrender their weapons. That's not the plan text, though, so why does that matter? You say domestic abusers surrender their weapons in the solvency. But
they
that's
would
not
be
the plan.
one subgroup of people who have to surrender their weapons. It's not specific to them, but they would be included in the advocacy.
Starting point.
Cool.
41. 3 off, then case.
You just email?
Yeah. Speech talks assembled. I'm just gonna.
You said 41 left?
Yeah.
3 off AC?
Yep. And on the AC, I'm starting on spikes. Sorry, I'm just putting this right order for you. Cool.
No problem.
Thanks, man. Okay. It's called 1NC round. What round is it? 5 or 4? 4. Round 4. There we go. And I'll restate the order. 3 off case. On case, I'm starting on the spikes at the bottom.
Sorry, let me just like maneuver this so I can flow on the table.
Yeah, it's all good. What's your email?
You can just
Actually,
reply to the
yeah.
other one. I think we're gonna cover your bag.
Tell me when you get the email.
Yeah, I'll check right now.
Sure.
You just replied on the. Nope, just got it.
Yeah, okay. You good?
Starting on the
Sorry,
under
for
when
that.
you get to the app.
Yes. Okay. You good?
Actually, hold on, let me plug in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. You good? Yeah. First off, T, interpretation. The app has to defend a gun ban in the entire United States and may not specify to a subset. In the United States means the U.S. the actor. Sigalo writes. In the United States means the United States American best interpretation of the scope of this. In this means the app must defend the claim the gun ban affects the entire United States, not the geographical subset of the United States, and another definition. United States means the federal government. Valentine writes. United States 1, the federal government. 2, sovereign nation called the United States. 3, territory of which the United States has sovereign power. Violation 1, he concedes in cross-ex. He advocates just Missouri, not the entire thing. Second, his definition at the bottom of the AC can't respond either. Is ICS to advocate the entire United States as U.S. government is the actor, not a certain thing. C, standards 1 ground. Other interpreters, we have hyper-specific take at neg offense. Sigalo 2. This is fair to interpret the actor to decide that only fact cannot Kentucky or District of Columbia or the access to quality arguments is too good. The actor's back with regards to other aspects had only certain types of handguns or only certain people. So the ground is due to fairness and entries like make arguments against the AC. Second, limits under their interpretation. They can for single state, city, region, etc. He can see the cross. He can advocate for literally a single city, single town, which is incredibly problematic. Which always links back to the violation boundaries are infinite. There is again because of a single possession. Limits skill fairness can't make good responses against the AC3. It's actually topical. And then I have real solvency advocacy. Actually pretty devastating. His solvency advocate actually advocates for all gun bans in general, not a handgun ban. He concedes actually T is an independent voting issue. Means you can't actually assess the argument out of the ACD voter is fairness. Debate is competitive activity governed by wins and losses. Fairness that weighs the AC in 2 levels. 1 controls link back in. It's jurisdictional obligation. You can't vote for untopically. C. It's obviously other ways you can't assess the round. Second, controls link back to the arguments at the bottom of the AC like MRC for local solution are good. Those that make sense. The context of the debate where I show why T's how we ever engage the AC. Drop the debate on T. It drops the entire advocacy which is severance out of the 1AC, which restarts the entire run. Severance bad. They can restart the 2 and R. Also use competing chirps on T. 1, you can't be reasonably topical. Makes no sense. Top is the limits test for the AC. You can't be somewhat topical. Second, leads to worse norm setting overall. And they can push the special abuse multiple times. A bright line can't solve that to arbitrarily define 3 reasonability collapse competing interpretations. We discussed the bright line of the flow, which is functioning competing interpretations. Also, no RBIs in T1 is the litmus test for the AC. I think you should win off of. I'm topical by default. I don't win the round always, which makes it a ridiculous second chilling effect occurs. I can never check back on using things after the AC, which is much worse for an engagement. Next off. I negate and value just state action, government policy, respect people's view, part of the state rights comes irresolvable, this sensation ensure a system of equal freedom. Rip scene 1. Difficult state rights, state nature, lack of determinacy, and the lack of agreements and determinacy of remedy making rights unenforceable, rights are part of a system of equal freedom, each person entitled to do what seems good, each person entitled to do as a state's honor lateral claim, to state a claim power to define the objective standards, and private freedoms not lack of hinge rather system respects equal fundamental rights, that is a sovereignty principle. Rip scene 2. If purposes come into conflict which must our freedoms, the sovereignty principle concedes the freedom in terms of independence from each other. You're independent when you're the one who decides what actions you will pursue. You're sovereign, somebody has to tell you what to do. The standard is upholding the sovereignty principle, and intended harms comply or sovereignty is not violated otherwise. Rip scene Scene 3. Solving violent only by the intentional needs of other people, its interest and independence, all those interests are respected by a variety of things other than intentional wrongdoings. If a wrong intention, I use a culpable, I use the means, and make means my own. My thesis, we can't punish you for crimes of having committed owning a gun is the same as using a gun. It doesn't justify violent ego freedom to AC violence people's rights. They haven't done something physically wrong. Block rights. The mere ownership is automatically threatless. British weapon keep on locked him to ruler form of violence on aggressive maximum, while latter does not have the potential danger of private ownership, but we prohibit all such currency. We'd also ban arms and legs. Skip the next card. Next off. Counterplan text. I advocate de Grazia's method of moderate gun control. De Grazia writes, I will defend universal background checks and the requirement of license for all new gun owners and state search requirements for tracing mechanisms all gun owners and national database for gun sales. These bills regulation moderate gun control, extensive gun control, but not recommend private ownership. B competition when the F advocates for full ban. That was the plan to expand the AC any permit severance. S literally said the ban is a good idea. Second, ideological competition. I discussed we should have certain limits on bans, which is any permit severance out of I was actually advocating for. C solvency solves the AC pretty clearly. It solves gun violence better. De Grazia writes. 2. Universal background checks ensure people who also feel ineligible cannot purchase them for special exclusion. It promotes safety the same way currently. Background checks do require a license for all new gun owners. Contingent on passing rigorous safety course. This particular restriction is reasonably related to household and public safety. The purpose is to reduce the chances of accidental killings and injuries. So safe storage requirements and required safety features. Cut the card features. Second benefit is the NC avoids violation of people freedom. A reasonable person can own a gun. There's no a person who's like not a criminal can own a gun, which solves back for all the AC case. Right. Their second spikes is MRC for local solution or key, which is T preamp. One TV to top version of solves. They can advocate for a coordination effort. He didn't have a good answer in CX, why he couldn't do so. He can advocate for federal action and local action, which means my turn T interpretation. It's a question whether he actually advocates for a local solution. Second, my arguments that way on strength link back to the violation. This is nebulous thing that why it's important in fact we discuss things. Where I show inbred abuse in T, which is obviously a prior question. Then he says it is a definition, it is part of it. One that's a wrong definition. My shell's based on definition. United States yes to have definition. Against my certain shell definition, some random T definition doesn't actually apply. Second, mine outweighs in specificity. I give definition. Provide debate itself here. So mine is a textual interpretation based on the top of literature itself. He discusses a nebulous claim. His first slide, then he says competing interpretations. Because C is pointless. One is impossible. You have to be reasonably topical in T. You can't have someone fair. His interpretation is based on theory, not based on T. It doesn't actually apply. Second, he incentivizes really sketchy ACs, push threshold more often than not, which is bad for discussion occurring, which is obviously much worse than any impacts. Then he says advocates RBIs on reasonability. One reasonability is inflationary. You can't get an RBI on reasonability. That gets rid of theory. It's terminal defense. On the thing you went off of, which is obviously bad. Second, RBIs are bad for norm setting overall. It trades off with substantive engagement. As we don't get beat with the random consent theory, not substance. Now, case proper. As noted to the framework, there are two preemptive problems. One, the NC co-opts impacts the AC. The NC is most actor-specific. It discusses state's obligations. The value spheres that mean nothing for the state, whereas the state has an obligation to consider freedom for its actor spec ways the resolution posits. The USFG second, the NC controls will impact all arguments anyway. Even that it's real consequentialism. A good rule is allowing freedom to occur. Thus, there's no reason to never cheat the arguments out of the app anyway. Then, group part of it, 1 and 2 value theories are good. The NC is clearly a value-based theory. The NC discusses why freedom is important, which proves value-based theory anyway means the NC co-opts impacts the AC. And in the first place, in the first justification is McGee for why it reconciles risk theories. But freedom is a side contribute. We can never reconcile theories. Intersecting terrible condition means the NC is how we ever ask the offense out of the AC. Yes, reconciliation is good. The NC is how we do that. Now the contention. Place and over the CP solves all the ACCX was so devastating. He conceded that he's not any solvency. He mentions gun bans anywhere. I commanded death gun ban. He was not thinking the CP solves all of the AC. There's no reason why the CP is not the same thing as gun control, which all of his cards actually advocate for. Means what negative risk of the NC because the debate on the AC is pretty much a wash. Now in Benjamin race relations, first term, they disarm black people, which leads to massive backlash occurring in St. Louis. We're now taking away black people's guns. Probably really problematic, which the CP avoids by ensuring people who deserve guns can get those guns anyway, which is obviously good. Second, gun bans draconian nature. There's no discussion occurring whatsoever. For racial tensions are going to spill over. We should have draconian policies like the AC, which leads to massive spillover occurring. The other second advantage is IPV. First term, the NC allows for women to have guns, which creates self-defense and autonomy. Charles writes, some women should only affect the political class of women, have the fear of violence affect all women. Women should also have full range of self-defense tools in order for the choices to be meaningful. Phrase acceptance of women to the art of self-defense could help reduce current rape culture. Cut the current rape culture. Second term, all the solvency actually flows next to the rapists should not have guns or IPV people shouldn't have guns. Which the CP would ensure doing that solvency evidence was really weak, just as why people shouldn't have guns or criminals, which the CP avoids the harm occurring anyway. So all solvency actually flows negative. This question it means we avoid the harms happening. Three term the AC leads to massive backlash. Women are targeted, they don't have guns, empirically shown that they lead to more rape occurring, which is obviously bad for any rule consequential theory, which he worsens.
Cool.
I read everything. I didn't read this second Charles card, but I read everything else in the speech talk.
So just the one that says
Firearms generate detention. I read everything except that.
everything else in the doc.
I didn't read Ripstein 4. Yeah, everything else I read.
Yeah. So I'll delete that. I can delete Ripstein 4.
Yep.
Where's Ripstein 4? Oh. Cool.
I'm good where you are.
Yeah, it's better. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
On the framework comparison, you say the neg framework is also a value-based theory, but why does it mean we look to the NC framework first?
Well, this is defense against part of it 1 and 2. the arguments that are like presumably tiebreakers would be actor specificity and the NC itself that justifies.
So wait, why is the NC more actor specific? Because it's the
Sure.
function of the government.
States have to ensure freedom. The USFG would fall apart if they didn't ensure freedom. Whereas rule-based theories, like the USFG is not going to say,
sure.
oh, all of a sudden we do
Okay, wait,
rule-based theory.
but why is actor specificity a reason to prefer a framework
sure.
for how we should evaluate actions in general?
I did that weighing. I said that the resolution questions the USFG, so it's the context of political philosophy.
Okay, but like, why would our framework change based on like what actor we're evaluating? Shouldn't our framework be
well,
like,
different
like,
actors
what's
have
the
certain
true
obligations. For example, a police officer can arrest you, but I can't do so.
So should I act under a utilitarian calculus and you act under a deontological calculus in real life, or should we have a calculus that everyone can use?
Well, if it's different actors, they should have different obligations. Like a person could be utilitarian and go to Africa to wage
So
rape
no
and
framework is
charity.
absolute then.
But governments are probably
Is what you're
deontological.
saying.
No, I'm saying that some frameworks are absolute for certain agents. Like a state should be
Okay,
deontological, for
sure.
example. They
Let's
couldn't
go
just
down
destroy the
the off.
Constitution.
So on the
Which off?
just we're gonna go down in order.
Sure.
So on the first off, on like the Sigilo cards, these are not interpretations of the topic. These are just reasons why it'd be better in debate.
No,
right?
it's an interpretation. It defines the term in, and it also
Where do you
generates.
define the term in?
In the United States, this means the United States. The best interpretation of the scope of this in means the act must claim their ban affects the United States. Also, the
Okay,
balancing.
why do we prefer that definition?
All the standards.
Okay, so
Also, the balancing evidence.
Wait,
is
that seems
pretty
kind of self-impacting.
No,
Your
T is a
definition
question-
is better because the
Yes,
definition.
on T, the definition is the interp, and the standards are reasons to prefer my definition.
Okay, sure, cool.
Also, balancing is a separate definition, which means you can't go for the Merriam-Webster stuff in the AC because it defines the term not
Okay, sure.
by shell.
Then on the reason why RVIs can't be generated off of reasonability, what was the claim?
Well, I made this on the case. I said, I obviously contested reasonability, but I said that reasonability is deflationary in nature, so it's not something you can win off of. Reasonability is something that gets rid of theory, and it gets the right back to substance. That was all of your justifications for reasonability.
So
you
why?
can't leverage an
So
RBI.
I can't win off reasonability, but why can't I get an RVI from the same justifications as reasonability?
Well, I would say to win the RBI, you have to win. You have to concede to competing interps and beat back my RBI bad arguments.
Okay, sure. Going on to the second off. So what was the Ripstein set 2's claim about lacking a hindrance?
Sure.
Why is the
This is a
hindrance
sovereignty
solved?
principle. Sure. This is about creating a system that allows people. The sovereignty principle would say that even things that are presumably harmless, like trespassing or bad, if they infringe on someone's right, like if I go to your home.
Okay, yeah, sure, but I'm saying if something's
I sleep
actually
in your-
harmful and then we can't prevent that, why should that not be a hindrance of a hindrance?
Well, I'd say that even if it's like you hinder a hindrance, if the system itself is violated, that's still bad overall. And B, the intentionality arguments take it out. But either way,
What intentionality argument? Which one?
Ripstein 3, the sovereignty principles. This evidence is very specific. The
Okay,
sovereignty principle
cool.
is not violated by.
Then on the last one, you say like this solves better for a myriad of reasons. Where are you getting
Well,
better
the fact that all of
solvency
your
from?
solvency, well, one, I have the Degrassi 2 evidence, which is pretty good. And also, all of your solvency literally flows neg.
Cool.
I
So-
did command F, ban was not one time in the AF, which proves
Sure.
that
Anyway,
CP scoops
what
the
does the DeGrazia card say we do? We have universal background checks. We have stalking for
background
violence.
checks, safe storage requirements, tracing mechanisms, etc.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna start prep. Could you just like write out prep here, yeah, where the RBI justifications and the reasonability arguments were, just like just the answers on
Oh,
RBI.
I mean like where I made them on the EC?
Yeah, just like in order.
Oh, sure. Well, on the RBI, I said first, reasonability is deflationary. Second, it trades off with substantive engagement. As the round just comes down to theory, we don't engage substance. But I also read 3 reasons of my own when I was reading the shell. I said T is a litmus test and chilling effects. Yeah, those are the 2 I read on my shell.
have 41 seconds left.
Oh, we both have 41 seconds left.
Cool. Do you want me to just reply in the email chain?
Yes, please.
Okay. Oh yeah, reply. I don't have to type a new email again. Okay, so I send the email. Let me know when you get it.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily going to read all the arguments in there, but I'll let you know obviously which ones I don't read.
Yeah, fine.
Cool.
So, were you starting?
I'm going to start on the AC substance and framework, and then we'll jump on to the shell.
Oh, so top down?
For the AC?
Yeah.
Yeah, top-down AC.
Okay.
Briefly on the counter plan, then on the shell.
Okay.
Sorry, I just gotta squeeze this in.
So you're starting on the F?
Yeah.
Okay. Then counterplan, then topicality.
Yep.
Okay.
So again, AC top-down. Counter plan briefly. Shell.
Yep.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
The biggest problem for Raffi is that he's clearly not winning summons. His argument on the framework literally makes no sense. So first you can extend that he says that his framework is the valueless reason, but that doesn't mean that he actually can tell the actual argument of the Ross code. So extend the Ross code from the AC flow, which is that the valueless theory will always lead to a rule consequence perspective. That's the reason why I prefer my framework. It doesn't matter if his framework is also a valueless theory, because the fact that rule consequence perspective is always the preferred theory under a valueless theory. That is always the first. His actual specificity arguments are co-opted by the fact that the argument that I have coming from the Morgan card, which you can also extend, is the only way we can have an era that we can have a resolvable framework in the first, because that's the only way we can actually resolve the debate between having a deontological perspective and being able to weigh between different scenarios, which is a constituent feature of government, because if they can't weigh, but who knows if the government can ever make the act. That's the reason why my favorite always confers the cost his actual specificity argument. At that point, the Ripson one of the Ripson 2 cards don't matter, because the fact that we don't have any specific obligation to the government that would be able to be solved by the fact that the rule consequences per second reconcile these differences. Then his argument that hinders is insufficient. Obviously we have to be able to hinder, we have to be able to hinder, otherwise a system of equal freedoms would always be bad, because the fact that means that individuals within this system of equal freedom never actually have the freedoms guaranteed insofar as their freedom to be sacrificed to the freedom of others, insofar as the rule consequences protected reconciles by weighing. That's the reason why my framework comes first. At that point, Raffi did no weighing last week. Don't give him new framework recontractualization. It's very clear that on some you are looking at my framework. So then you go to myself. You go to myself first on the races that you can extend the SPD. This is on the average that extend the SPPDL. That's the reason why I always suffer race issues in Missouri, because of the fact that the extreme weighing of the weighing I did last week, so that I will always have weighing magnitude. That's the reason why my office is always going to come forward. That is the reason why I never certify. He reasons that Charles Clark said that we lose weight and increase the rape culture, but this argument is never weighting if the other arguments in the 18. So far as we don't know exactly how much the hanger will actually lead to this rape culture, the fact that we don't have any arguments about self-defense in Missouri specifically. That's the reason why I always prefer my evidence on the actual specificity in Missouri. At that point, I'm the one who's doing any weighing for you. The only place that he can actually win is the counter plan. The argument that I'm winning the race advantage is very much sufficient for you to vote out, because of the fact that he does no weighing. If I have the most important piece of offense in the app and I'm winning the framework, you can't vote there. So go to the counter plan briefly. On the counterplan perm, do the app and then do the neg. Raffi never establishes any competition. He just said that it's dependent to the fact that the app says it would never completely solve. Just the fact that I think counterplan is insufficient doesn't mean that we can't also do it. It's very clearly kind of hang on the we can also have other measures on other types of goods. We can have other ways that we restrict ownership, because the fact that we can get the benefits of having a way that we actually have a system for people to have licensing and actually check the guns, but we can also just get rid of a specific type of hang on that would actually guard the benefits that I'm talking about in the violence policy center cards that say how hang on specifically are going to lead to the harm that are confronted by racial minorities in St. Louis. At that point, it's very, very clear that we get the net benefits of the app on handguns, but handguns specifically aren't anywhere mentioned in the counterplan or the NC as being specifically harmful. At that point, I solve all the offense back. The counterplan is not a place to vote. Go to the shell, and it's pretty clear game over. On the shell, oops, sorry. First, cross-apply the arguments of reasonability from the bottom of the AC. One, you can extend that theories of value to reasonability with a bright line and linguistic affirmation to the topic in itself. Raffi never actually made the argument in his speech that I don't mean the bright line, which is the reason why I from the bright line came over first. You can say the argument that the next ability later to be able to horizontally and vertically as well as adaptive AC means they can always have an advantage on each individual structural relation. Disregard outside of the beast and just a form of conversation. B, competing interpretation allows you to win on ministry risk of often another interpretation and incentivize debates to run as much frivolous theory as possible. There are some counter-interpretations impossible to generate often, such as false theory forces the violated 100% self-esteem. Also, reason prefer reasonability over competing interests based on the new arguments that he made in the last speech. One, fairness should be matter of threshold, not the best norm, meaning the norms to be reasonable, not just better than some other opposing norm before being established. We're not going to remember every term of everyone, but the threshold provides a concrete breadth on that debaters can here to go into every single rest why I launch themselves in the competing interpretation norms to still be unfair so long. They're more fair than not the norm, but reasonably established the bread line, where norms can be established. It means that leads to more fairness overall and long to that. If reasonable for reasonable, then you can extend the Byram-Webster definition of thing, which is the reason why those topics why meet the bread line. Then, on his show, A's counter-interpreting the admin defendant ban on the private notion of handguns in specific a state if there is obviously advocacy specific to that state, and the absence of general ban on handguns in that region. Standards, 1, real world, both historically and in the status quo, we're going to control the hot political topic of these issues addressed at a local level. Bloker. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas arguing the categorical bans on firearms are unconstitutional, although the gun debate is national scope, the vast majority of gun relating top at the local level. No characteristic of gun control in the United States is more long-standing than sensible and restricted than more strong restriction in cities, concordant cities. Also, crossed by the MRC, Carl evidence from the other was explained on 1, local policymakers more effective, and 2, role-playing local policymakers provide more skills. It also means that if we don't look to local policymakers, we lead to irresolvability to the fact that we have too many confounding variables. That's never from last week. We mean irresolvability is independent voter to the fact that if we have no irresolvability, it means the around comes completely arbitrary and kills all fairness. Always that was his standards.
Can you delete everything you didn't read, please?
What?
Can you delete everything you didn't read? Because like I saw like there's a header above HUT that you didn't read off of.
Yeah. Let me read this.
Okay. Everything else is good? Okay, I'll start my prep now.
Yeah.
Topicality, starting counterinterp, then top down the shell, and then after topicality, I'm gonna go to the spike C extending out of the AC. I don't know where you both flowed the reasonability stuff that he read in the 1AR. I flowed it at the bottom of the AC, so I'll answer that there. And then after that, CP case.
Topicality, counterplan. Case.
Yep.
Topicality spikes counter.
Yes. Yeah. Topicality spikes. So, is everyone good?
Okay.
Really simple 2-R for me. He spent way too little time on T in his last speech. All of my standards were dropped, so as long as I weigh those and show that he violates the reasonability right line, you obviously vote neg. As a note, the counter-interpretation of 2 major problems, one he clearly violates it. He doesn't have a solvency advocate, he conceded in cross, he doesn't actually have one. He decides to advocate for all guns being banned, not handguns being banned. That was going to cross clearly by the solvency advocate part. Then his first standard of real education with blocker, but he conceded the TVA read in the last speech. He can have a top version AC. This advocate coordinated effort also has scoop solve his offense. There's no reason why he doesn't have to actually have that second. I went like link back to the violation. I only read a fairness-based voter here, so no reason why education actually matters in the first place. No reason why it's over a key 3 limits linked to real education. If I could never engage the AC, I can't make good education anyway. But it's over bad. Then he said second standard. This is all good, but he crossed myself out of the AC. But I answered on the AC. I'll get there when I go to the AC. Go to the top of the show. There are 3 conceded standards. Pretty much means he can't win T. Extend the interpretation with single low 1. He has to advocate for the United States, which means the entire United States. And then extend with Valentine. The federal government applies the U.S. to the actor. The federal government means the U.S. acting, and then it's the violation. He advocates for a single area. Extend the first standard ground. Extend the first standard ground with single low 2. The hyper specification kills all neg offense. I can make good turns against the AC. The 1AR does not waste your offense. A, it shows in red abuse. You did look by case turns. In the last speech, I read a lot of because you know you're going to prove abuse. You did do that. You linked a lot of my turns about why. You said Missouri specificity, which shows I couldn't actually make responses. B, ground to execute any voter, including real education. I couldn't actually engage the AC. X and third standard, extra top count of the AC doesn't actually have a solvency advocate. They advocate for, they don't have a solvency advocate. They literally advocate for, they advocate for all being guns being banned, which means he also violates some reasonability right line, which he says has to have a linguistic affirmation. So extend the voter fairness, is competitive activity, government wins and losses. Extend drop the debater and T drops entire advocacy, and extend no RBIs, other T's litmus test. You shouldn't win being topical. But here's what he really messed up. I read 3 reasons for competing shirts in the 1 and C. He dropped all of them. So all I have to do is win these weighing arguments, and you vote neg on face. Extend the first reason competing interpretation good. The T debates your question of T debates your question being topical. You can't be somewhat topical. This obeys the specificity, even if reasonability is good for theory. It's not good for T. So the second one as well. Third one as well. This reasonability collapses in competing interpretations as Wellington Bright flows function competing terms. This is game over so clearly. Even if reasonability is good, and it claps back to competing interpretations, you know you need some reasons why it's good, which is vote neg risk of offense. So easy. He considered reasons. It's so easy. Vote neg right there. He considered reasons why reasonability collapses in competing interpretations. So he's no uniqueness there. Now go to stuff at the bottom of the AC anyway. Right. Where is it? Okay. All of his definition, the problem is he's containing reasons why he doesn't meet his own definition, except my first response that it's a wrong definition. I define the term federal government, which means that his interpretation doesn't actually apply to respond. Also, doesn't have a textual definition. It is some random Merriam-Webster definition. I've termed words here. I define the single evidence finds the term of the resolution means he violates linguistic affirmation, which is game over right there. It means doesn't involve offense. Also, he extends the interpretation, but he concedes my two responses. Except my second one, just by sketchy, he's using the feature, trading off the good norm setting. Otherwise, he can check back these. This it weighs into on time, on duration. He incentivizes really bad ACs in the future. Also, all our factors do arguments here is 8 points and 6 clear bright line. That doesn't solve that problem. Offense, though, I show I wish I could set good norms in the future. That is the reason we should have the best norms possible. Not the ones this one round. Is the point says that it justifies unfair ACs in the future. But again, that doesn't make any sense. So I show that if I choose the reasonably topical, he can get away with the super sketchy ACs like this one. Either way, though, if T is too messy, you can vote negative substance. Before I forget, jump up to his cross application of MRC for local solutions. He concedes my first response that he can have TVA just advocate for coordinated effort, means he can't go for MRC's resolve database level here, as it doesn't actually make sense. He concedes that he can advocate for coordinated effort, the use of G in states as well. T makes it incredibly simple. Under competing terms, he automatically loses. He has no opposite to my standards. Even at reasonability, he still loses. He doesn't have linguistic affirmation. Now go to CP. One blippy response is not enough when the CP does all of the AF. All of his solvency claims say gun control, so CP solves the AF. All I have to do is answer back to perm, and he loses. Extended counterplan text rebuttal, we should advocate for moderate gun control. This entails systems, people have gun registry systems, and also have background checks. He's affirmed the AF into the neg. One, there's no benefit to the perm. Any risk of dissatisfaction, be back to the perm. He didn't show it's actually a good idea anyway. Second, all the cases are reason why it's bad. He's literally conceding a lot of them, which show that he leads to massive backlash, which means that overall much worse. He worse situation 3, delay perms for voting issue of fairness, and they let him sever out of the temporality of the AC, and also see my entire strategy. He can co-opt the entire counterplate implications, reject the debater, cross the reason why I dropped the debater, so extend the competition. I read in the first feature. The second one, ideological competition I advocate for. I'll system gun control, including not gun bans. This means the perm goes away as well, even if it's technically possible. It's inconsistent. It's in the insolvency with Grotsy 2. It scoops all the AC offense. Gun control empirically solves for a lot of things they talk about, like IPV. So now, go to the case. Concede the framing, completely winning reasons why he worsened the harms that happened. Go to solvency, extend the overview, which was super damning. This counterplan solves all the AC, all the solvency claims literally say gun control, not gun bans. Means even if plan text is technically topical, all the solvency claims are actually reasonable. The counterplan solves the AC. He conceded that entirely. Sign your ballot there. Means even if solvency is true, it's reason the counterplan solves the AC much better. That outweighs in strength of link. It was flat out conceded. Means all solvency claims he goes for the fact that he has a command to have gun ban didn't come up one time in the AC proves it's actually gun control, not gun bans. But even so, I'll still slam some doors in solvency today. Let's go through his extensions. He extends the first advantage, the recent advantage, where he flowed through 2 turns. It's my first response, he leads to more racial divisions occurring. His lives right now, a black star on edge in St. Louis, and the gun ban storming them will tip them over, and lead to much less racial violence occurring, and the counterplan avoids that harm by making sure people who deserve guns, like African Americans who need to fight racial violence, would get those guns. This is 2 additional impacts, and it weighs in strength like he entirely conceded it, and it's empirically verified, which means that he worsens all the harms. Because a huge reason the counterplan solves the AC, his solvency standing is scooped by the counterplan versus the reason why the counterplan is much better than that of the AC. You can vote neg right there, it solves all the solvents. Then, on the advantage 2, I know he didn't go for it, but I still have really a link term. On advantage 2, extend Charles, he worsens situations by discovering women. Autonomy is key, it allows them to make important decisions. Later on, women had to have say their own life conditions. He says he outweighs magnitude, however, I outweigh magnitude as the crops that weighing. He disarms another group as well. The recent advantage is probably muddled, but I can see the reason why he worsens IPV, which turns case. Round is really clear. Top levels T. The framing issue you have to go for is competing chirps versus reasonability. I definitely win competing chirps, as he dropped all 3 reasons I read in the first speech why competing chirps is good. You can call them if you want. They were pretty good. And that means that I've been weighing there if I think first. Even reasonability, he doesn't have a linguistic affirmation. He's conceded his definition doesn't apply. But in substance, T's no risk, no RBI made. Substance is incredibly easy. The counterplan scoops all of the out. All its solvents is gun control. The CP is gun control. So any risk of dissatisfaction is sufficient, and all the terms were conceded.
Alright, starting cut. Going to be starting on the shell, specifically in the last speech where I made the cross application of the MRSC shell. After that, we'll go on the AC flow top down and the counterplan. good job for the most part last year. The problem is that he's not actually responding to the resolvability claim in the MRC covers. I said it's an independent voter calls all fairness voters. If he only looks at fairness, that means if I win the resolvability vote, it's game over for Rob because the fact he is not on theory, and that is damning for him. So you can extend the MRC covers since we have to have a local policy making vote because that if we have too big a focus, we always need to inefficient resource allocation, which makes it a video result because the fact we never way between competing scenarios. Rock's only response is he said that we can have a coordinator effort that's not going to actually be a response to just the fact is that it said that we don't have specifically a local policy making focus. We have too big a focus that's going to lead to too many confounding variables, which is going to make our analysis impossible. The coordinated effort is just going to be just as bad as if we had a federal government back because the fact that it's just as big as me that I have 100% to the result of which he really should have actually left me, but he didn't. That point came over. Even if you want to for Robbie, the fact he's doing a lot more work on the theory shell, this is a game over. You get the fact that it calls all the fairness and because the fact that if we don't have any result, we'll way to assess the that you the judge can only make an arbitrary decision, which means that we can never have a fair would evaluate the debate in the first place. At that point, it doesn't matter if Robbie's winning all the fairness claims because he is dropping the fact of result, but he controls the internal link to all fairness voters. Even if you don't like this argument, it's a conceded argument on the flow that co-ops literally every stand that he had in his shell. At that point, he has no offense on theory, so I just have to win substance. I don't have to win anything on the theory shell. But even by that, briefly, you can extend the counter interpretation. The NAF doesn't have to actually have a sovereignty advocate and they don't have to defend them in the United States. You can send the blocker card that I read in the last piece that becomes irresolvable if we don't actually do this on a local policy making world because of the real applicability. If anything, that's just another way I get a link to resolvability. So it's very, very clear that he can't deny my link to resolvability because there's two places where that's coming from. But then on substance, the problem with Raffi is that he's making a lot of arguments, but he's not doing any way in between. So you can go to his arguments on the show. He said that we increase red gold, we can extend my church on the last piece. One that we don't know we don't know the magnitude. This was specifically in the county of St. Louis, which means that you give me, you can go check it off and evaluate in my office, at least mitigate this off, and probably would have got canceled out because of the fact that the benefits we can get from gun control and reducing active use is always going to be better than whatever kind of rape culture we can reach. He never gives proof that there is a rough culture. He never gives proof that there is a rape culture in St. Louis, whereas my evidence specifically shows that we have a culture of violence that is specifically affecting those who are in the African American minority population. Even if I win that offense, game over. You should go to the advanced balance, then you can extend the SPPDL card, which says that we reduce the actual 51 black and black violence ratio between the way that the blacks are killed by other blacks and blacks are killed by whites. That is the reason why my evidence always get away. At that point, he had no offense to the fact that my evidence that was the magnitude and scope, which he can see in the last week. That means history don't matter. He says that it's empirically verified that these are blackers, but the backlash doesn't matter because the fact that it's trier dies contextualized by the nation, because the fact that the blacks are dying and they're not actually getting any help right now. That's why we need the plan first, so you can extend the plan for explain it in the last week that we be able to St. Louis. It's going to be 100% always game over at that point. So I'm winning the race advantage. Very clearly winning the weighing. Raffi made a lot of great arguments. He just didn't do the weighing for you, so you vote on that argument. Then on the counter plan, Raffi tries to extend that the perm is impossible because of the fact that we can't have a sequential perm because the reason why sequential perm is bad. When I said then, I didn't use then as a sequential perm. I just said you can do both. You can do one and the other. You don't have to do them as like separate things. They can just be done together because of the fact that it is not competitive that we can have a handgun ban and other ways that we regulate gun ownership and licensing issues with people who are experiencing these guns. Which means that if I'm winning the net benefit on the affects, the net benefit to the perm, it's very clear to win the counter plan. So he can drop the NC. At that point, it's very clear. You're voting on the resolvability offense that takes out theory. Then I'm winning a sub because he doesn't do any weighing. The counter goes away because his arguments to the perm are insufficient. It's very clear out ballot.
Good debate.
Good debate.
I'll wait for you to decide.
I've decided to write it all down.
Oh, just go ahead. Martin, since I'm trapped by my wires, can you deliver this to my co-panelist? And
The superstar of the show.
then it can be announced at once.
Yes, of course. Okay. I did card Martin.
yeah, singular 1 and 2.
Those are some pretty great cards.
I think they're pretty good cards.
No, I just thought it was really funny who was sitting there.
Yeah.
That's really
I
funny.
realized that as I was reading them. I looked at them.
Alright, so it is a 2-0 for the neg.
Congrats.
Do you want to start, or should I?
Sure, I'll start. I think the neg is winning the counter plan and a risk of a case turn, so I don't have to evaluate topicality. I thought the 2AR, for what it's worth, made the right choice on T, going for resolvability that was undercovered. Raffi, pretty much all you say is, well, I have 3 conceded standards, and it's not really clear what your answer to resolvability is supposed to be. I don't know that I buy the resolvability outweighs like everything ever, because you know the 1AR says it's an independent voter, like this is a big deal, but like a one-line weighing argument, I'm not super inclined to vote on, but I don't know. If it had come down to it, I probably would have gone AF on that debate just because there's some weighing there between the standards, whereas I don't think that the neg has any. But I didn't spend a ton of time with it because I thought the neg was winning the counter plan. He says the counter plan solves the entirety of the AF because it's what all of your authors advocate. So if there's any net benefit, then that would be a reason to vote neg. The net benefit is supposed to be which is not really clear in the 1NC. It's supposed to be this analytic backlash argument on the case that says that people will backlash if you try to take their guns, and there are people who deserve guns for some reason. It's not really developed in the 1NC, but I think the 2NR explanation is pretty good. He says that there will be more racial divisions in Missouri because when you disarm black people, then there will be more violence, and they need them for self-defense purposes. This outweighs on strength of link, and it's empirically verified. I don't think the neg has any empirical evidence or cites any, but that's explanation of 2NR that I think the 2AR largely drops. Pretty much all you say is, well, my evidence outweighs on magnitude and scope, but he says he's turning your advantage and the counterplan solves better, so I don't think you have a good explanation for why a ban is better than control, so I can vote neg on a counterplan. I also think I might be able to vote neg on the turn to the IPV advantage. I do agree that 2NR undercover the defense there. It's like we don't know the magnitude, we don't know about rape culture, how do we evaluate that, which is fine, but like you did read an advantage, and about IPV, he says that this is key to stop IPV. I don't think he needs these kind of nebulous culture claims to turn this advantage, so I still think this is offense, even if the first advantage is more important. If the neg is turning the second advantage and makes the first advantage close, then they probably have more offense, which is the analysis that the 2NR rightly does. Other than that, I don't have too much else to say. I thought the neg strategy was good. I think you need a better net benefit to the counter plan because if he beats back these kind of crappy analytic terms, then there's nothing really there, and you invest a decent amount of time in the counter plan. So I don't know, read a disad or like some cards on case that are band specific, or go for Ripstein. So one thing that you say in the 1NC is you say there's the gun control makes the case debate close, so you can vote neg on a risk. I believe what you say is vote neg on a risk of the NC. I think this framing is pretty good. You can make a kind of modesty argument that the counterplan avoids this huge freedom disadvantage while solving the majority of the AF. So even if the counterplan's not quite as good as the AF, there's just this huge deontic violation that we want to avoid. Make the framework debate close enough, and then I am willing to vote neg, especially given that the 1AR doesn't really cover Ripstein super well. I thought the 1AR was underwhelming on framework. You just extend resolvability, but the 1NC says that their framework is resolvable as well. You say we have to be able to hinder a hindrance. I'm not really sure why. And while I guess Ross is pretty good, but there's presumably something to be said about these Ripstein cards that Ross doesn't answer. I don't really know because I didn't flow the content to the Ripstein cards, but it seems like the framework is definitely an option for the 2-R. If not going for it all the way, at least making some kind of like modesty. There's a risk of a deontic violation because he doesn't turn the contention. So, I mean, it's no risk for you. Yeah.
Oh, so you think I should have made a full out, like in the 1 and C, a full out modesty argument, kind of?
Yeah, or even in the 2-R, and you can say it's not new because you have to see what offense he develops in the 1AR to determine whether we should evaluate modestly or not.
Okay, thanks.
Can I just ask 2 questions? One was on the frameworks that you were talking about. What was your opinion on the second extrapolation of the margin card beside the irresolvability that was like rule comps co-ops the arguments that are coming from Ripstein and all the actor specificity arguments, which is the reason why.
Well, do you have a card that actually says actor specificity, like or that's government specific?
No.
So I mean, what do I think of it? I think you don't have a really great explanation for why. You just say governments need to weigh rights violations, but you don't say why the resolution is an instance of a rights violation.
Okay.
And he's gonna stand up in the 2-R and have a good spin on why governments can be Kantian. I mean, I'm sure, So
Yeah.
I don't think had he gone for framework, I don't think that would have been a really damning argument in your favor. Maybe you read some kind of more government, like maybe if you read I hate to say it, like a Waller or Sunstein or Gooden card in the 1AR, I'm more persuaded just because there's an actual argument here, but pretty much all you say is just like can't resolve conflicting rights claims. But I mean, he's gonna have some answer. I don't know what his answer is, but presumably Ripstein somewhere in this 500-page book has a way to resolve these conflicting rights claims. So I don't think that was great. I think Ross, you could have extended and explained Ross better. I thought that probably was your best bet.
Okay.
Maybe you just need some more independent offense for your framework because you have all this Parfit stuff that it seems like he can concede and doesn't affect his framework. So maybe it's this McGill stuff at the bottom. I don't know what that card says. Really, I just heard something about resolvability. I didn't flow it super well in the 1AC, so maybe that's what you should go for.
Okay.
I think in general the plan portion of the AF is probably too long. Like people aren't going to have a ton of prep on the Missouri plan, so why not bolster the framework and cut down on? I mean, you read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, something like 10 cards in the plan. You probably only need like 6. You might even just read the race advantage. I know you want the leverage for both, so maybe you just shorten both of them.
Okay.
And then read more framework.
Yeah.
Especially against Harrison.
And then the other one question I had was on the backlash arguments how did you evaluate the contextualization with the try or die means the risk of
I think that was kind of new in the 2AR.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, that's pretty I don't have that in the 1AR really.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fairly similar on the whole. So regarding T, I do end up going with the resolvability argument, even though it's not the most fleshed out argument, but it does go unaddressed relatively well. So I do end up sort of not bothering voting on T. So then on the counter plan, I think that the backlash argument that the neg is making goes pretty much unaddressed and is extended well enough to where I agree that it co-ops the AF offense and the firm doesn't end up working out. So it's really comfortable for me to just end up voting on the counter plan and how it co-ops the AF offense and then has that net benefit going on as well. I do also think that, as Bob said, if there was more debate on the framework, it could have potentially turned out differently. I do think also there was a lot of potential for the neg and the 2N to really leverage the Ripstein framework a little more than they did. And then the comments on what you could have done with rule consequentialism to try and block out Ripstein a little bit more and if the debate got more frameworky applies as well. So I think that the strategies made on the whole were good. There was a few smaller things. So with addressing the backlash argument and stuff like that decided it.
Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Just I guess for both judges. So do you both think the 2-R should have gone for the Ripstein NC and maybe not gone for T?
I feel like.
Go ahead.
Okay, I feel like either strategy would have been viable, honestly. So what you did ended up working out, but the not addressing things like resolvability was like pretty damaging towards like the sort of towards the T argument as a whole. It's not to say that it was a worse strategy than had you gone for the framework and really tried to leverage routine against real consequentialism, but it would have been something that you probably could have capitalized on pretty well, especially since he didn't really bother putting a lot on Ripstein in the 1A.
I think you could go for both. When you were about 2 minutes into the speech and you were pretty much done with everything you needed to do on T, and then you spend like another minute kind of extending no RVIs, no drop the debater, and I just think maybe a little more efficient on T. I think you can get through it in 2 minutes. And then, I mean, the rest of the debate, like, you really don't have to do very much. You just have to say there's a net benefit to the perm on the counter plan. Your delay argument is a waste of time because you're making the wrong argument. The argument that you make is that he's severing out of the immediacy of the AF, but his perm is due the AF then the counter plan.
Oh, I misheard it. I thought it was due to CP then the
Yeah,
AF.
so I pretty much think all you have to do to answer the perm is just say I'm going to win a case turn. So that saves you like 30 seconds, and then at the end of the speech you like summarize the whole debate, which is very pretty, but it's like another 30 seconds. So all of that time could have been used to go for the NC. So I think there's room to go for everything in this tunar, which I don't advocate a lot, but it would have put a lot of pressure in the tunar. And given that he doesn't have offense on the NC, it's a relatively safe choice. So that's why I would usually caution against it if he has like offense on the gun control counter plan or on the NC or an RVI. I would say like, no, you want to shut one of those down. But given that most of the 1AR is defensive, I think you can go for all of it. I think the NC is an easier option. It really depends on, I don't have a good grasp of what your framework skill level is. So, I mean, maybe you're just better at T and so you want to go for T, but in the 2R you're like, he undercovered T, and it's like, not really. He spent like a good like minute and a half maybe on it, and he didn't line by line the Ripstein cards. So I think either option would have been fine.
For the 1AR, would you recommend just like for time's sake and not going for everything, collapsing to just T? Or like what would you do?
No, I would not do that.
Yeah, you want to like keep the avenues open as far as the 1A goes, I'd say.
So what would you?
Because that's too easy. I mean, the 2R can just beat down on
Yeah,
RBIs, and then so I think your T coverage was fine. I think you need to get a little more efficient in winning your framework and the case debate. I mean, I really think it was an efficiency issue there. And then with another, and on the counter plan, you don't have a whole lot of interesting things to say on the counter plan. You pretty much, you need to rework. If you're going to have a gun control versus gun ban debate, you need like 3 good arguments for why ban is better than gun control based in your specific AF. Read those, that should take 20 seconds, and then use the rest of the time to actually turn the NC proper.
Okay.
So you get a huge advantage if you just put like 3 turns on the NC contention, because then he has to do something about that. He has to either concede framework, which gives you a pretty big advantage, or when he's going for it, he has to overcover that because you could go all in the 2AR. So making that a credible option really helps. Okay. So that's why I said he can go for anything in this debate because you just don't have offense. You can't win on T, you can't win on the NC, you can't win on the counter plan. The only way you can win is winning framework and the AF contention outweighs, and like at that point the neg has so many different ways to beat you. So what the 1AR should be doing is establishing different outs to scare the 2R into collapsing, or into going for everything, and then you can collapse in on. So I'd say yes, make an RVI argument, turn the NC.